So, with Halloween Horror Nights drawing closer and closer, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a remake of a video I did not too long ago. And that is basically a video of talking about, like, my perfect Halloween Horror Nights. Like, that was the idea, was talking about, like, my idea for a perfect Halloween Horror Night. So we're just gonna kind of go through that and really, like, talk about... just kind of go through it and just kind of like I'm just going to give my ideas on it. I'm going to just throw out ideas for scare zones as well as haunted houses. And as always, I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. So, as always, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, let's get started with this Halloween Horror Nights. So, my idea for this Halloween Horror Nights is called Army of the Night. Army of the Night is going to have an icon as well. Basically, Dracula. Technically speaking, the first horror character the first real horror character for Universal Studios. The one who really, like, kicked off the Universal Monsters, the golden age of movies. I think he would be really cool to have as an icon. So Dracula, the theme of this is that Dracula has assembled an army of monsters, an entire army of not just the Universal monsters, but just monsters and madmen from across the globe, and have brought them all here to begin their attack on mankind, like begin a war on mankind that will eventually, like, lead to world conquest. And that's the theme. Like, that would be the theme, is that you are facing the Army of the Night. So, let's go through my picks for what I would do with this, like what haunted houses I'd have. So I'd have a total of 10 haunted houses for this. Some IP and some original ones. So, just kicking things off, my first one is Hellraiser. Hellraiser has yet to appear in any Halloween Horror Nights. In the over 30 years of Halloween Horror Nights, we have not gotten Hellraiser at all. Like, it hasn't even been teased. Like, Ghostface and the Scream franchise has made, bigger splashes and came close several times, but Hellraiser, never. How I would do this Hellraiser one is that it would be like a kind of a fusion of the first two movies, where the facade would be the house from the first movie, and it slowly devolve into the, like, you go into the basement, you see the Cenobites, you get attacked by Jesse, and you more or less, not Jesse, Frank, you get attacked by, like, Frank with all of his skin off, and then it goes into, like, the Leviathan's labyrinth, and there you meet more of the Cenobites and more, and just kind of more, like, surrealist stuff. I feel like that would be a really cool idea with Hellraiser. So my next house would be The Fog. The Fog was a house that was going to come to Halloween Horror Nights one year, but it just didn't make it, and that led to Dead Man's Wharf, which is a original IP that has gotten a lot of popularity. My idea for, like, the facade of the house would probably be the lighthouse from the movie, and play with that. Like, that would be my idea for the facade. I also think that it would be cool to see, like, images from the church, from the town, and of course having the pirates and fog everywhere. Like, this thing would just be filled to the brim with a fucking fog machine. Just fog machines everywhere. They just this would be a dense, kind of atmospheric and creepy haunted house. Next up, we have another one. This is a video game IP, Dead Space. Dead Space, obviously with Last of Us coming, and we've had Resident Evil and Silent Hill, more based off the games, I feel like it's high time we do some more exploratory, like, some more horror-based video games, and I know they'll probably do that more if Last of Us does well, which I'm pretty sure it will. I think it would be cool to have the Ishimura, or, like, something of that degree, as the facade. I don't know if you could get the whole ship, but maybe like a part of the ship that you arrive at, that Isaac arrives in with his crew, something of that. And also, this probably would be a very puppet heavy house with a lot of the necromorphs and whatnot. But just touring the inside of the Ishimura, being attacked by necromorphs every which way would be phenomenal for me. Following that, we have The Howling, a haunted house based off The Howling. Again, another classic horror movie that has not gotten a haunted house. This would be very much based off the first movie. I would actually base the facade off the adult store that Dee Wallace's character goes into. So I think that would be a lot of fun, going through the store, being attacked by Eddie when he's transforming, and going into the going from there into the village, seeing the other werewolves. That would be really cool. We haven't really gotten a werewolf centric house since American Werewolf in London, and this is kind of like its sister movie, so I think that'd be really neat. All right, moving on to house number 5. We're we're only at the halfway point with these houses. So my next house would be, and I've talked about this in multitude, a house based off the band Ghost. Ghost, I think, really lends itself to being a haunted house, having the music there, being attacked by the nameless ghouls, even the different Papa Emeritus. It just really writes itself, and I think it would be perfect. Again, no one thought The Weeknd would work. Totally worked. Now let's do one with an actual metal band, with like something that does do with creepy stuff. All right, house number 6, Universal Monsters Legion. My idea for this house is that while not only is this the IP house focusing a lot on Dracula, but it's also the Universal Monster house and actually ties into the whole story of Army of the Night. In Universal Monsters Legion, my idea is that this house would be following the Universal Monsters through different scenes of them taking over the world. Like, you would have different, like, not only scares from all the monsters, classic monsters, but you'd also have them, like, killing people, like, seeing them, like, slaughter their way through different sets across the world, kind of have, like, almost like a gory, kitschy feeling, kind of like something like Mars Attacks, and then end with, like, Dracula in the White House, just bathing in the blood of, like, the president or something like that, or something of like that ridiculous, like some ridiculous end, but have some fun fright to it, but still have that kind of scare to it. You know what I mean? Next, this is an original house, and that is a house I call Eyes of the Mothman. Eyes of the Mothman would be a original IP house that focused on the Mothman. We've had ones based off of the Bigfoot and the Yeti. I think Mothman would be a cool one. How I would do this house is that it would be based a lot off of all the various accounts of the Mothman sightings, leading from the first one and then leading to the bridge falling apart, something like that. And I would definitely utilize the Mothman's red eyes, and also I would bring back like scare actors on hooks, like flying over you. That's what I'd love to do. Next up is called Nightingale Civil War. For those who are unaware what the Nightingales are basically a group of creatures that Universal Studio, that Halloween Horror Nights has utilized before, where in here they're ghoul-like bird creatures that feed on the dead during Great Crisis. Like, there was one during the Roman era, and the other one was set during World War I. So this one would be set, as the name implies, during the Civil War. And I would also have it set around the Battle of Gettysburg, which is also it's also supposed to be incredibly haunted. So it would be following the Nightingales as they're feeding on both rebels and Union soldiers alike. Confederate and Union soldiers would be fed on, and you just see carnage everywhere. All right, moving on to the next house, and that is house number 9, and that is a house based off of Scary, Ohio, Gore Girls. In this one, this would be set in the Halloween Horror Night favorite location, Scary, Ohio, where it would be a sorority who is playing around with a Ouija board and summons deadly spirits that kill them off one by one, and you follow this story throughout this college girl sorority house. Nothing I'd be kind of cool to see like some new stuff done with Scary after like Scary, Ohio, after that massive homage they did for the 30th anniversary. I'd love to go back and add like a new thing to it with like Scary, Ohio College, and who doesn't love sorority girl massacre movies, right? Okay, so our final one is the house that would be based off of a historical moment. Or rather, a house that actually exists. The LuLaRae Mansion. The LuLaRae Mansion in Louisiana is one of the most haunted mansions, if not the most, on the planet. So I'd really like to play with like voodoo lore and go like the phantoms and whatnot. Really play with those ideas. I think they did really well with their last like voodoo house a few years back. So I'd love to bring. I would love if I could do something like this. I'd love to do that. All right, so those are our houses. Let's talk about our 5 scare zones. So the first scare zone would be, this would be the one you'd enter in, and this one would be called Dracula Siege. This one would feature Dracula, the icon of the year, like I said, but also feature various monsters fighting soldiers, and it would basically, the scare zone would depict Dracula's attack on mankind. Like this is the opening act to Dracula's war on mankind, and would tie into Universal Monsters Legion. Just really kind of have like soldiers like you'd have scenes of like soldiers battling various monsters, not just the Universal monsters, but other monsters you'd see throughout the park, and Dracula would be like on a stage kind of directing and calling out that this is the army of the night, this is mankind's last stand, and this Halloween will be forever, or something along those lines. Next up, a scare zone set on the hill, based on The Hills Have Eyes. Another franchise. While I would like to see it get a house, I think it could easily work as a scare zone too. The Hills Have Eyes, and I wouldn't base it off the remake. This would be off the original George Romero, the original. No, Wes Craven. Excuse me, the original Wes Craven movies. I think that they have a lot of potential. I think that it, like having the family run around in a scare zone, just scaring the bejesus out of people, like saying they're going to eat them or something like that, would be nothing short of fun. All right, next one, Coven, 1950. This would be the sequel to Spirits of the Coven, which was a haunted house from last year that focused on like witches who ran a speakeasy. This would be the sequel to that, where it have like a 1950s feel to it. But here the witches like are pretending to be like were pretending to be like housewives, but throughout the night you'd see them like progressively get uglier and more like their true selves, and just like having their quote unquote husbands like carrying around their body parts or pretending to eat them or something like that. All right, fourth one, Bloody Mary Beyond the Mirror. This one would bring back the character of Mary Organa, who's known as Bloody Mary. And the story would be is that Mary is basically the like right-hand woman to Dracula. Like she's one of his best field generals, and she's helping to bring in this age of monsters and also utilize a lot of her fears. I think Morgana, like Dr. Morgana, was really cool as a character, and how they redid that lore. But yeah, there's my fourth one. And finally, we're going back to Scary, Ohio with Mr. Meat's Food Truck. Mr. Meat's Food Truck-O-Rama, to be exact. Mr. Meat's Food Truck-O-Rama, the whole idea for this is that Mr. Meat's Food Truck-O-Rama would be based off of Mr. Meat's, and it would more or less be like a series of bloody food trucks with all of Mr. Meat's and his crew looking to have you to be part of their food truck rally, though not as guests. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my idea for a Halloween Horror Nights theme. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? And let me know in the comments, how would you make a Halloween Horror Nights event? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.